What is going on, everyone? This is my Week 7 NFL predictions. Last week I went 13-1, putting my current record at 59-33 on the year. And these teams are on a bye week, Bears and Cowboys, so obviously those teams will not be playing this week. And we got 15 teams to go over, or 15 games to go over, rather. First one being the Broncos and Saints. Broncos losing to the Chargers last week, and the Saints losing to the Bucs last week. So both these teams trying to get back on track. Both teams starting a rookie quarterback, Broncos with Bo Nix and Saints with Spencer Rattler. So this will be very interesting. And also the Broncos have Sean Payton, who used to coach for the Saints for a long time with Drew Brees. And yeah, this will be a very interesting game. And I'm a Broncos fan, and honestly, I do think we'll win. I have the Broncos winning this one with a score of 20-17. Moving on, we got the Patriots taking on the Jags. The Patriots losing to the Texans last week, and Drake May made his first career start in that game, and he definitely showed some flashes, so definitely some hope there for some Pats fans. As for the Jags, they played in London last week, and they're playing in London again this week, and last week in London, they lost to the Bears, and Jags don't look very good, and they actually stayed in London because they're playing in London this next week, so it wouldn't make sense for them to go back and then come back to London, so, they're definitely accustomed to London, more than like any other team, because they play in London a shit ton compared to everyone else. And because of that, I actually am going to pick the Jags. I think the Jags will have an upper hand because they'll be playing against a rookie quarterback and, the kind of home field advantage they have. So I have the Jags winning 23-13. Moving on, we got the Lions taking on the Vikings for the first 1 o'clock game, and the Lions dominated the Cowboys last week and really established themselves as a Super Bowl contender if they hadn't already. And the Vikings had a bye week last week. They have yet to lose a game, and their defense is unbelievable. So this will be a really good game because the Lions have a really good offense and the Vikings have a really good defense. So as I always say, something's got to give, and it's a divisional matchup too, so these teams are going to want it more than usual. And I actually do think the Lions are going to win. I think they're going to give the Vikings their first loss this season just because, they have really been impressing me the way they've been playing. Not that the Vikings haven't. I mean, they're playing great, but the Lions, they just look like a different kind of breed when it comes to how they're playing. So I do have the Lions winning this one with a score of 27-21. Moving on, we got the Titans taking on the Bills. Titans losing to the Colts due to Will Levis being a moron again because Will Levis fucking sucks at quarterback. And the Bills able to win a very sketchy game against the Jets on Monday Night Football. They didn't play their best ball, but they came away with the win, which is what matters the most. And, honestly, do I really need to go over this? The Bills are a Super Bowl contender. Even though they didn't play great, I still believe they are a Super Bowl contender, and the Titans could arguably be picking in the top 5. Definitely, top 15 at the bare minimum. So, yeah, I definitely don't need to go over this too much. I'm just going to get this over with. Bills 24, Titans 10. Moving on, we got the Dolphins taking on the Colts. Dolphins had a bye week last week, and the Colts beat the Titans in a not too great game by the Colts, but a win's a win. And, this game should be entertaining because the Dolphins' offense is terrible, but the Colts' defense is terrible. So you've got the opposite formulas for disaster on both sides of the ball. And, the Dolphins have just been a complete disaster ever since Tua got injured. They've only won one game since his injury, and that was against the Patriots. So not really much to write home there. And the Colts, you've got Anthony Richardson, who is injured currently. And Jonathan Taylor might come back in this game, but we don't know yet. And I just, Both these teams, I really don't like the direction either team is going down, but I am going to go with the Colts to win 28-27. Moving on, we got the Seahawks taking on the Falcons. Seahawks losing to the 49ers on Thursday Night Football last week, and the Falcons able to get their fourth victory this year against the, let me think about this. I don't know why I can't think of the team they played. Oh, they played the Panthers. They beat the Panthers 38-20. I don't know why the hell I couldn't remember that, but yeah, they won. Seahawks lost. So Falcons have really been trending up lately, and the Seahawks have lost 3 in a row. And I mean, I'm going to pick the Falcons just because usually I like to pick the teams that are trending up, and they're at home too. And honestly, the Seahawks defense has been so underwhelming. They were supposed to be the strong suit of this team, and they honestly fucking suck. They've given up so many points these last few weeks. So I'm going to pick the Falcons to win this one if they score 31-21. Moving on, we got the 5-1 Texans taking on the 4-2 Packers. Should be a good game, arguably game of the week. Texans beat the Patriots starting a rookie quarterback by 20 points, so good to see him win a convincing game so far, or for once this year. They haven't done that yet, and the Packers able to convincingly beat the Cardinals. So both these teams beating on, lesser teams, but the important thing is they got the wins, and they both looked really well doing so. So you can't ask for more than that when you're these two teams. And this game's definitely going to be high scoring in my opinion. And honestly, you could pick either team. I really don't see, any reason why either team couldn't win, because I just think it's going to come down to who plays better. And I think because this game is in Lambeau, I'm going to go with the Packers to get the win just because of the home field advantage. So I'm going to say the Packers win 31-28. Moving on, we got the Bengals taking on the Browns. The Bengals able to get their second victory of the year on Sunday Night Football against the Giants. They had a lot of offensive yards, but they didn't have a lot of points, but it was enough to beat the Giants without Malik Nabers, so good for them. And as for the Browns, they lost to the Eagles by 4 points, and they didn't score an offensive touchdown in that game, so I really... not a whole lot of optimism for the Browns. And they also just traded Amari Cooper to the Bills as well. And they're going to get Nick Chubb back this week. At least they're expected to. And I don't think he's going to do a whole lot in this game. But surprisingly, I actually am going to pick the Browns, because for some reason... the Browns have had the Bengals number in Cleveland for the longest time. They just can't beat the Browns. The Bengals can't beat the Browns. So I'm going to pick the Browns to win this one with a score of 17-10. Moving on, we got the Eagles taking on the Giants in an NFC East divisional matchup. Eagles beat the Browns last week by 4 points. Didn't look great, but they won, so I guess congrats. Giants lost to the Bengals on Sunday Night Football, as I actually just mentioned both these teams in the last video, on the last, game, so ironic. And they lost, but, honestly, they didn't play that bad. They held one of the best offenses to 17 points, and they didn't have two of their best players on offense in that game either. And I'm actually going to go with the Giants in this game, because... they're expected to get Malik Nabers back in this game, and usually one player would not make this much of an impact on my decision, but that guy is a dog. That guy can literally do anything for the Giants offense. he's a really good spark for them. So I have the Giants winning 30-23. Alright, our first 4 o'clock game is between the Raiders and the Rams. Raiders losing pretty badly to the Steelers last week, and the Rams, they had a bye week last week, and neither of these teams are that good, especially not the Raiders. They just traded Devontae Adams, and they're kind of just cellar dwellers right now. and the Rams are just injured. Like, the definition of the Rams is injuries. Injuries inside and out this team, and it's just unfortunate. And, I mean, I still think the Rams are going to win because they do have Kyren Williams, and I think he will be a good player for them in this game. So I think that's because Stafford hasn't played great without his top two weapons in Puka and Cooper Kupp, who are both injured. So I think they're going to rely heavily on Kyren Williams, and I don't really trust the Raiders to stop him or play offense. So I have the Rams winning 24-14. Moving on, we got the Panthers taking on the Commanders. The Panthers lost to the Falcons last week, but they did show some promise. The Commanders lost to the Ravens last week, and they showed a lot of promise. So they both lost, but not the worst losses for these two teams in the world, because the Panthers aren't a good team, so you're not going to expect them to win a lot of games. And the Commanders, they played against one of the best teams in the NFL. Not to mention they were injured. They didn't have Brian Robinson in that game. So I think that was a big hit to the Commanders. But I think regardless, I'm going to pick the Commanders because they're a lot better than the Panthers. I'm going to have the Commanders winning 33-24. Moving on, we got a rematch of Super Bowl 58 and a rematch of Super Bowl 54. So definitely some tension here. The Chiefs had a bye week last week, and the 49ers able to beat the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. And this is going to be a really good game because the 49ers are really going to want this badly, but the Chiefs aren't going to go anywhere. So this is going to be a very hard-fought game. And I am actually going to go with the 49ers. The Chiefs have yet to lose, but they're due for one soon. They've been playing so mediocre and getting bailed out by the refs or by whoever they're playing, and they're finally playing against a real Super Bowl contender on the road. So yeah, 49ers, do not let me down, please. I hate the Chiefs. Everyone hates the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs. 49ers win 26-21. Moving on to our Sunday night game, you got the Jets taking on the Steelers, and the Jets lost to the Bills on Monday Night Football last week, and the Steelers beat the Raiders last week. And the Jets actually just got Devontae Adams on Tuesday, so should add a spark to their offense. And the Steelers have decided to bench Justin Fields for Russell Wilson for some reason, despite Justin Fields actually playing pretty well. I don't really understand that decision. I mean, if your guy's playing well, you might as well keep him in there, but I digress. And I still, regardless of what I just said about both teams, you'd think I'd pick the Jets, but I'm actually going to pick the Steelers because I still don't trust the Jets. I go on about this every time, about Nathaniel Hackett and how he sucks and how he's holding back the Jets, but I mean, I don't think Devontae Adams is going to fix all the problems the Jets have. Their O-line sucks, their coordinators suck, and they're scapegoating, so I have the Steelers winning 17-16. Moving on, we got a Monday night. We got two Monday night games again for some reason. We got the Ravens and the Bucks. The Ravens able to beat the Commanders in a close game, but they pulled away. And the Bucks played against the Saints. They obliterated them. They scored 51 points as opposed to their 27. And if you can do basic math, you can tell that it's a hell of a lot more than 27. So congrats to the Bucks for that against a division rival nonetheless. So that's definitely got to feel good. And this should be a really good game because the Ravens have a really good rushing attack, but the Bucks have a good rushing defense. So I think they will be able to neutralize Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry on the ground, and it'll force Lamar to, pass the ball more than he usually does. And yeah, it's going to be a good challenge for him. And I still do think the Ravens are going to win. And I think the Ravens will win 30-26. And ending the week, we got the Chargers taking on the Cardinals at 9 p.m., which is really late for a game, by the way. Chargers beat the Broncos last week 23-16, and they are actually up 23-0, and they almost blew the lead, but they did win, so congrats to them. And the Cardinals, they didn't really do much against the Packers. And the Cardinals, they also won't have they might not have Marvin Harrison Jr. for this game either, so that's unfortunate. But the thing about the Cardinals that I honestly don't understand is I feel like 1 week they'll play really well and, like, you know, they might still lose because they're rebuilding. And then 1 week they'll just play like shit. Like, they just play like they don't show up. And I feel like that's what they did last week. So you'd expect the Chargers blow out the Cardinals. But I feel like, you know, I think it's going to be close. I still think the Chargers will win because they have a really good defense. And I think Justin Herbert has been playing a lot better as of late than he has, you know, at the start of the season. So I do think the Chargers will win, but I think it'll be a score of 24-20. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Here's all the scores listed if you want to look at them. And yeah, that's going to do it. And my next video, it's going to be on Saturday, and it's not going to be college football. I'm going to go over every team and talk about what I believe their biggest problem is, you know, throughout the season. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all in the next video.